A while back, I read a blackjack book by Nathaniel Tilton, and in that book, he had tons of drills to kind of help him perfect his card counting abilities. And he and a partner actually were able to beat the casino for a ton of money. It's a great read. I encourage you guys to read it. I think it's called The Blackjack Life. That said, in one of those drills that he and his partner would do is they would have someone go into a different room and the other person would lay out a bunch of cards, kind of like this picture on the table. They'd have a few flipped over. And anyway, as fast as they could with kind of the lights dim and there's pressure, I think they would even play like Sesame Street counting videos in the background. They would have the other person try to figure out what the count was and kind of what the missing cards should be. So with that said, this is a similar drill. I call this a scan drill, and it's not necessarily as crazy as that because we're gonna put the cards out where they should be, kind of on the betting circles here. And for example, again, using high-low card counting, let's say this was my first hand. In fact, I'd probably play it out kind of to completion, where a soft 17 versus the dealer's 8 should hit. Right now, a hard 17 would stand. The dealer would flip over their card and they would have 18. All right, now the idea behind this drill is just to add up really quick, what is the count currently? And here, of course, it'd be D2 or -2, D for down. It's easier to say than negative. All right, and so I'm gonna have several rounds of this where it's gonna get progressively faster. In fact, this was a request sent in by DASA 1969, and they said, can you do one where there's multiple spots kind of laid out? And sure, we can do that. So we're gonna start with kind of one spot. In fact, I have this into kind of 3 sections of 8 here. So the first one, we're just gonna do 1 spot. The next one, we're gonna do 3 spots for the next set of 8. And for the last one, we're gonna do 5 spots. And you're gonna have to come up with the count, again, faster and faster. I wanna do it in sections like this so that you can kind of progress. If you're not quite, able to do all 5, maybe you can do 1 and 3. That's fine. If you can get kind of faster and come back to this video. So you might want to save it to your watch later playlist or something so you can see how you progress over time. So with that said, let's do a practice one here. All right, here's the first picture, and I'm going to give you kind of a countdown timer at the bottom, and you're just going to try to figure out what the count is using high-low card counting. Right, so time's up on that one, and it turns out the count there was +4. Okay, so again, if you want, you can call that a practice one. We're gonna do 8 more of those with just 1 spot. And so you might wanna kind of number a paper or have this ready to go. So if you need to pause it and come back, that's fine. And then we'll do 3 spots and then eventually 5 spots. So number your paper kind of 1 through 24, and then I will reveal those answers at the end. Here are those first 8 getting faster and faster as we go. All right, here's the answers for those first 8. Hopefully you're able to get all of those correct. Again, kind of check yours versus what you wrote down on that piece of paper. And now let's try the next 8 where we're gonna play in 3 spots. All right, guys, here's the answers, numbers 9 through 16, if you're marking it down on your piece of paper. Hopefully you're able to get all those correct. If not, you might want to go start from the beginning and try it again. However, this next set of 8 is going to be 5 spots. And because of that, it's going to be a little bit more challenging. I'm going to start you out with a little bit more time. It will continue to get faster and faster as we go. However, before we do that next set of 8, I want to talk to you about how I learned how to count cards, and that's with Blackjack Apprenticeship. Blackjack Apprenticeship is the worldwide leader in card counting and advantage play. Not only does Blackjack Apprenticeship have good drills that you can practice with, but they also have pro betting software. If you're going to take this card counting thing seriously, you absolutely need pro betting software to kind of evaluate what your bet spread is, your risk of ruin, and know your expected value before you even sit down at the tables. Additionally, they have Casino 411, which shows you kind of where there's a lot of casinos located, and you might want to take your blackjack trips to places like that so you can hit up a lot of casinos along the way. They also show you kind of what the table conditions are for each of those casinos and the specific rules at each of those tables. Additionally, they have a forum where you can network with other advantage players and ask your card counting specific questions and things that can help you improve your game. They also have a results tracker, video courses, and lots of other stuff I don't have time to cover now, but if you check out the link in the pinned comment of this video, there's some demo videos as to everything that they offer there at Blackjack Apprenticeship. It's a great tool. You absolutely get your money's worth. I highly suggest it. That said, let's get into that last set of 8 where we're counting 5 spots at a time. All right, guys, here's the answers to that last set of 8 on the scan drill. Again, they were getting pretty fast as it's kind of 5 spots. That's a lot to count up in a very short amount of time. So if you need to come back to this video, maybe practice for a few days or something and come back, see if you can complete the whole thing with 100% accuracy. This is a great video to come back to over and over and over again. All right, I want to end this video with a little bit of a challenge. So I'm going to go back to the picture from the beginning of this video where Nathaniel Tilton and his partner would lay out those cards on a table. It'd be a little bit dark and dingy to kind of emulate what the casino is like. And I want to give you guys about 25 seconds, which sounds fast. If you have to pause the video, that's fine. But I'm going to give you guys 25 seconds to figure out what these 5 cards should be. Again, using high-low card counting. Ready, go. All right, and that's 25 seconds. So what should these add up to be? Well, it turns out we have -3. All right, so if you had a count of +3, then the opposite is true for -3, which would get us back to 0, and therefore that would balance out the count. All right, guys, that is a scan drill. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button for me. That's the easiest way to help out this channel. Until next time, remember, this is A1 Blackjack.